happened?
Oh, Rach, I went for a skate this morning before school and I was lining up to do this really sick trick called an ollie.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, bam. And I fell and I've hurt my wrist. It's not broken, but apparently I sprained it pretty bad.
That's awful. Are you still going to come to the park with us this afternoon?
Well, I don't know. I just feel like if I have to sit there and watch you guys get to skate and I can't, it's just going to make me feel even worse.
That is fair. It is pretty bad when you had plans and they get ruined.
Yeah.
It does remind me of the story in the Bible, though, where one guy, his plans are completely ruined, but something good happens at the end.
Oh.
Since the beginning.
Wait, are we going back in time again?
No, I didn't say in the beginning. I said since the beginning.
Oh, right. Sorry. Carry on.
Since the beginning, the people that God created were trying to figure out how to trust him. They didn't always get it right. In fact, a lot of the time they got it wrong and made some really bad choices. God never gave up on his plan, though, and always loved his people.
We learnt about Abraham and the promises God made him. One of those promises was that someone in Abraham's family would help bless the whole world.
After Abraham came Isaac, and after Isaac came Jacob and Esau. We learned about how Jacob and Esau fought over the gift their father wanted to give.
That same Jacob grew up and was given a new name, Israel. We'll keep calling him Jacob though, because that's how we know him. Jacob had 12 sons, but his favourite son was named Joseph.
12 kids? That's a dozen. 12. Whoa. They would have to have a big breakfast table.
And an even bigger house. Jacob wasn't very good at hiding his favouritism for Joseph either, which caused a lot of anger from the 11 other brothers towards Joseph.
Jacob gave Joseph a beautiful coat. It was colourful and unlike any coat they had ever seen before.
This made his brothers even angrier.
Then Joseph had dreams about his future. These dreams were from God and told of how Joseph would be very important. Joseph excitedly told his family about these dreams.
Which made them even angrier. So angry they threw him into a pit to get rid of him and then sold him to traders who were passing by.
Joseph was taken to Egypt by the traders where he was sold to Potiphar as a slave. Potiphar was an important officer to the Pharaoh.
Joseph was a very hard worker though and trusted God's plan. Potiphar's wife didn't like Joseph and accused him of something he didn't do. Joseph was thrown into jail.
But even in jail, Joseph trusted God and never gave up. He helped the other prisoners with dreams they were having by telling them what they meant. One of these prisoners worked for Pharaoh, so when Pharaoh was having trouble with his dreams, Joseph was recommended.
The dream was a message from God. Joseph told Pharaoh that Egypt would experience 7 years of good farming where they would have lots and lots of food, then 7 years of famine where there was no food at all.
Pharaoh was so impressed that Joseph knew what his dream meant, that he put Joseph in charge of organizing the country's food so that they would be prepared for the years of famine.
And when the famine came, Joseph's brothers had run out of food, so they travelled to Egypt to get some. Because they hadn't seen Joseph in a very long time, they didn't recognize him. They bowed before Joseph, asking for food.
This was the dream that Joseph had shared with them in the beginning of the story. His brothers bowing down to him because he was someone important.
Joseph eventually told his brothers who he was, and they were shocked. Joseph forgave his brothers and invited them to stay with him in Egypt so that they would have plenty of food during the famine.
The story of Joseph shows us how God uses everything for our good. Even when things are hard and don't seem at all like they're going our way, God can still use us.
It would have been really hard for Joseph to trust God in the bottom of the pit, or when he was sold to the traders, or when he was a slave in Egypt, or even when he was in jail. But God was always with Joseph and used all the bad things that had happened to Joseph for good.
God is able to turn difficult situations and use them to help us grow, to help others, and to help us feel closer to Him, just like He did with Joseph.
Oh,
Hey!
you did end up coming out today.
I did. I'm so glad I did.
Oh, yeah? Did something happen?
Well, I was sitting here, right, watching you guys skate, and
Yeah.
great tricks, by the way. You look
Thank you,
fantastic out
amazing.
there. Anyway, I looked over and I saw, do you know Ben from my class?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he was sitting there and he just looked really super sad. And I was like, oh man, are you okay? What's happening? Anyway, turns out his family dog got really sick and he had to say goodbye to it last night.
Oh, no.
And he was so upset. But you know what? I'm actually really glad that I came, because I really think that I was meant to be here, that God had a plan for me to be here so that I could hear about Ben and help him to feel better.
Oh, how awesome that even through our pain and suffering, we can show love to others.
I know, so good.
Just like God would have wanted.